We're joined today by a longtime Bulldog football alum, Paul Wiseman, one of the longest living, I guess, Ferris State football alums.
I would imagine.
Talk about how old you are when you played here at Ferris State.
I played in 47, 48, and just part of 49.
Now 49 years, or now 94 years old, I guess, is your age.
Well, I'm closer to 95, but yeah, 94 right now.
I know, obviously, a long time ago, but just talk about those memories you have of playing and what that meant to put on a Ferris uniform at the time.
Oh, it was real good. But of course, there weren't nearly that many people here at that time. When I first came, just before that, there were 5 students in 45, and then when I came in 46, it was jumped to 1,200 right immediately. All the veterans were coming back at that time.
What position did you play? I know we had a chance to talk. Just talk about your position and I guess how that compares to some of the guys that you saw out here today at practice in terms of the size.
Oh man, at that time we had the heaviest line in the state, and we ended up at 223-pound average. And here I was 169 pounds, so you can see how big some of the boys were. 2 were 260-some pounds, so I brought the average way down.
No, obviously, as you look back now, so many years ago, I'm sure there were some guys that you stayed in touch with over the years, and some great friendships and relationships that you made.
One that I played with a little bit was Jim Place. He just came for a while, and then I think he went into the service, and just 1 or 2 games I played when he did.
I know certainly he just passed away just a week or so ago, and always tough to deal with that. But I know some great memories you have of those games that you were able to play back during your college career.
Well, I don't know what you're asking me about here, but half of them just got out of service and they didn't want to be ordered around or anything, so they were pretty independent, and the other half were serious and played their heart out. So it was a mixed group, I'll tell you that.
I know we talked earlier, and you mentioned you came from Marquette when you came here to go to Ferris State. Why at the time Ferris Institute? Why did you decide to come here?
Well, I had 1 day at Northern Michigan, and then three of my friends decided they were coming down here, so I just said, okay, I'll go down there instead. So the 4 of us came down here, and we roomed together for 4 years. So that's how I'm here. I went home one summer, and that was in 46, the summer of 46, and I haven't gone back since.
Talk about what you did, obviously living here in the Big Rapids area, and what you did with your career after you graduated.
After I graduated, I'll tell you what, one term my mother died, 1 term my dad died, so I lost 2 terms there. So I came back, and I had 2 weeks to go in this one term and 1 more term to go to graduate. And somebody came up here and got me to go to work they came right up to the school and got me and went to work for Michigan Consolidated. I bought properties for them and leases and took care of all their properties for them and everything. So that's the way I ended up, and I ended up retiring from there and then went to work for Shell.
I know, obviously, along with that, a family here, and your son John here today. To talk about your family and what they've meant to you over the years.
Well, I can't tell you too much with John sitting here, but no, we've had a wonderful family. We've lived here all our lives. John was in the Marines, and Rex, my younger son, was too young to go into service, so he wasn't in service, but John was, and he and I talk about the service quite a bit. That's about all I can tell you about that.
I know, obviously, next weekend or this coming week, the Grand Valley State football game, football alumni weekend, and this will be the first big one that Ferris State has had in some time. Talk about what that means to be able to be out there with some other former football players and have that common bond maybe between you guys.
Oh, that was great. We stayed together all the time, and one looked after the other. At that time, it was different. There wasn't a lot of infighting or anything like that. Everybody, and even the people in town, would look after us. We pretty much had to run the town at that time. I suppose they were thankful that we got back in time, and they just went out of their way to help us out.
Talk about practice here today. You had a chance to watch the guys, and I know you mentioned some of those guys a little bit bigger than they were back when you played.
Oh, much bigger. Although we had a big, heavy team, as I told you before, but they're a lot taller, a lot bigger. I wouldn't even attempt it now.
Well, I was just going to ask you, any thoughts of going back out there and trying to play on Saturday?
No, I've had enough of that. You got only so many ribs to crack, so many vertebrae to break, and so many fingers to break, and I'm through with it for good, I'm afraid.
Finally here, just talk about what getting that degree from Ferris State, what that meant to you and how that's helped you, obviously, throughout your life.
Oh, I went to work for Michigan Consolidated, as I told you, and I did a lot of work, land work for them, bought a lot of properties and leases and things of that nature. So all the education you can get is going to help you, I guess.
Well, Paul, it's certainly been a pleasure to be here with you today and have a chance to talk, and we certainly hope you enjoy the football game against Grand Valley State this coming week.
We sure will.